Some people never raise their voice, even when the world screams around them. Plans fall apart, things go wrong, and yet they stay still. People call them emotionless, detached, unaffected. But the truth is far more interesting. The calmest people are often the ones who've survived the most storms quietly. Calmness isn't the absence of emotion, it's the mastery of it. And most calm people weren't born that way. Some learned it early when losing control only made things worse. Their calmness isn't softness, it's strategy. It's the mind saying, I've seen chaos before. I don't need to become it. You've probably met someone like this. They pause before speaking, they don't rush to react. They stay grounded when tension rises. But what looks like effortless calm is usually a deeply trained internal process. Calm people feel deeply, they notice everything, they absorb everything, they just don't pour it outward. Psychologically, calm people often have high interoceptive awareness. They sense rising heart rate, shifting breath, tension. But unlike others who become overwhelmed, they regulate these sensations. Emotional regulation is not luck, it's a learned skill. Some learned it in stable environments, others learned it in unstable ones, where stillness was the safest option. Bessel van der Kolk said, "The body keeps the score." Many calm people carry this truth. Their nervous system adapted by quieting itself. Calmness became emotional protection. In psychology, we call this a regulated nervous system, one that doesn't jump into fight or flight without reason. They observe their emotions before becoming them. Imagine them in an argument. They don't rush to defend themselves or throw words they'll regret. They breathe, they pause, they process. This pause is emotional intelligence, being precise about what they feel instead of exploding from it. I'm not angry, I'm overwhelmed. I'm not hurt, I'm disappointed. That distinction alone keeps them grounded. Calm people also carry a strong internal locus of control. They don't waste energy on what they can't change. They know the difference between reacting and responding. Epictetus said, "You can be invincible if you enter no contest in which you are not bound to conquer." Calm people refuse emotional battles that don't matter. But here's what most people never see. Some calm people didn't choose calmness. It chose them. Maybe they grew up around yelling and learned silence to stay safe. Maybe chaos shaped them into the stable one. Maybe they became the emotional anchor in a house full of storms. That adaptation became personality. You see it everywhere. At work, they stay composed during crisis. In relationships, they rarely escalate conflict. When alone, their calmness becomes sanctuary. They are often the safe space for others. Yet no one sees the effort behind that role. But calmness is not always peace. Sometimes it's maturity, sometimes resilience, sometimes suppression. Some learn to freeze instead of fight. To others, that looks calm. To the body, it's exhaustion disguised as composure. So what's really happening inside calm people? First, they tolerate uncertainty better. Their mind doesn't spiral into what ifs. Second, their amygdala, the emotional alarm system, is less reactive. Third, they trust themselves, their choices, their resilience, their ability to endure discomfort. That inner trust creates outer quiet. Calm people also observe more than they speak. They read tone shifts, facial micro-expressions, emotional undercurrents. They gather information before acting. This makes them look wise, because they often are. But they face misunderstandings. People assume they don't care, or that nothing affects them. Calm people care deeply. They simply process privately. So, can someone become calm if it doesn't come naturally? Calmness begins in the body, not the mind. Slow breathing, unclenched jaw, relaxed shoulders. When the body slows down, the mind follows. The next step is awareness, naming emotions before reacting, practicing pause, responding, not instinctively reacting. Another key is detaching from uncontrollable outcomes. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Today I escaped from anxiety," or no, I discarded it because it was within me. Calmness emerges when you realize most storms happen inside. Calm people also speak slowly, creating space in conversations. That spaciousness shifts the mind into clarity rather than chaos. Calmness isn't avoidance of emotion, it's intelligent engagement with it. Calm people don't drown in noise, they choose which sounds matter. They learned that peace isn't found, it's created. Maybe you are one of these people, or maybe you want to be. Maybe you crave the kind of calm that doesn't crumble under pressure. The calm that comes from understanding yourself so deeply that nothing external can shake you without your permission. Calmness is not a personality trait, it's a level of consciousness, a nervous system that trusts itself, a mind that observes before reacting, a heart that knows storms pass and doesn't have to join them. Calm people aren't perfect. They get overwhelmed, they just don't broadcast it. They feel emotion, they welcome it quietly. They aren't distant, they're observing. They aren't slow, they're intentional. And if you're drawn to this way of being, know that calmness is learnable. It starts with awareness, grows with patience, strengthens with practice, and eventually becomes you. Not because life became gentler, but because you became wiser. He who conquers others is strong. He who conquers himself is mighty. Calmness is that self-conquest. So ask yourself, what emotion hides beneath your reactions? And what would your life look like if you learned to breathe before you broke, observe before you overreacted, and held your stillness while the world moved around you? Where do you wish you were calmer? And what small step can you take today toward that peace?